The movie starts in 1942 when a group of German soldiers arrives on a small boat to board a cruise ship. On board are two men, Gus March Phillips and Anders Lassen. When the German general asks them what they're doing there, Gus jokingly says they are just on vacation. Suspicious, the general checks their passports and orders them to put their hands up. Gus laughs, which angers the general. He then commands his crew to search the ship thoroughly, but they find nothing. Frustrated, the general's soldiers start pouring oil on the deck, declaring the area as their territory and saying the men shouldn't be there. Meanwhile, a young boy named Henry Hayes, hiding below deck, starts shooting at one of the soldiers. On deck, Anders slits the general's throat. Gus, Anders, and Henry then team up to take down the remaining soldiers, throwing them overboard. They use the general's body to send a signal to the German ship. At this moment, their fourth crew member, Freddy Alvarez, arrives. When the larger German ship attacks, Gus asks Freddy if they should be worried. Freddy assures him that he planted a bomb on the ship, which soon explodes, leaving them safe. Freddy then asks Gus what their mission is. The story then flashes back to 25 days earlier. We see Ian Fleming, Brigadier Gubbins, and Prime Minister Winston Churchill discussing the worsening situation of World War II. The Nazis occupied several British territories, using new submarines, causing significant destruction and deploying numerous secret agents. Winston emphasizes the strategic importance of these areas for their European operations and decides to send his top operatives to handle the situation. Germany has built two heavily armed ships to use against the British, complicating matters further. Ian suggests an air raid, but Winston insists on matching the Nazis' unconventional tactics and proposes an unauthorized mission to sink the German ships. Brigadier Gubbins briefs his team about the operation, introducing Gus March Phillips, British spy Marjorie Stewart, and Mr. Heron, a spy running a casino bar. They summon Gus and inform him that he will lead Operation Postmaster. He is given 44 days to complete the mission, which involves destroying the German ships. Heron and Marjorie will work undercover to assist him. Gus says he will need a team and mentions Anders Lassen, Freddy Alvarez, and Henry Hayes. He also suggests Jeffrey Appleyard, but Ian informs him that the Nazis have captured Appleyard. Brigadier adds that Appleyard is held in La Palma, to which Gus responds that La Palma is on their way. The story returns to the beginning, with Freddy asking Gus what they are doing there. They are 18 days away from Fernando Po, and it seems Gus has not yet revealed the secret mission to his team. Gus then explains to Anders, Freddy, and Henry that their mission is to destroy the German ships and also to rescue Jeffrey Appleyard from La Palma. Meanwhile, Marjorie and Mr. Heron are also on their way to Fernando Po. While having dinner, they notice a group of German soldiers laughing. Marjorie seizes the moment to switch their briefcase with a decoy. One soldier asks her to dance, and during the distraction, she makes the switch. The German general intervenes, insisting on carrying the briefcase for her, but Mr. Heron steps in and takes it instead. Back in their cabin, Marjorie and Mr. Heron open the stolen briefcase, discovering crucial information about a German shipment, which they relay to London. Brigadier receives the message. Meanwhile, at the Prime Minister's residence, Winston faces pressure from his officers and generals to accept Hitler's deal and surrender, but Winston refuses. Brigadier and Ian arrive with news about the German shipment, convincing Winston to proceed with the mission. At La Palma, Gus briefs his team on the rescue mission. They set off on a small boat and scale a mountain to get a view of the army base where Appleyard is held. Gus spots the Gestapo, the secret Nazi police, at the base. They are noticed by two German soldiers, but Anders quickly eliminates them. The team begins their assault on the base, resulting in a fierce battle that ends with the deaths of all the enemy soldiers. Anders is the first to find Appleyard, and the team successfully rescues him. They continue their journey towards Fernando Po, ready for the next phase of their mission. Arriving early at Fernando Po, Marjorie and Mr. Heron meet with Heinrich Löhr, the SS commander in charge. During their meeting, Heinrich and Heron have a disagreement about some crates. Marjorie, trying to be friendly, uses her charm to divert Heinrich's attention. Later, outside, Heron shows her the body of a young spy who had tried to double-cross Heinrich, warning Marjorie to be careful with her mission. Meanwhile, 15 days away from Fernando Po, Gus, Appleyard, and their team discuss their mission. Marjorie and Heron arrive at a casino, where Heron spots a German captain named Binea arguing with the bartender. Heron talks to Binea while Marjorie sits at a table to smoke. Suddenly, Heinrich arrives and startles her. They engage in a tense conversation about Jews, which ends in laughter, with Heinrich proclaiming the beginning of a true friendship. Heron joins them and suggests celebrating with a party that night. Marjorie and Heron inform London that the German ships are arriving 3 days earlier than expected, while Gus and his team are running 3 days late. As Gus and his team plan their journey, London is hit by a Nazi airstrike. They receive an urgent message from the Prime Minister to sail as quickly as possible. Gus decides to risk sailing through a British naval blockade of Nazi-occupied West Africa, knowing they could be arrested if their unauthorized mission is discovered. 2 days away from Fernando Po, Gus spots a British ship and realizes they have been detected. They decide to approach the ship and talk to its captain. While the captain questions them, the British ship's operating officer detects a Nazi U-boat on their radar. The British ship shifts focus to destroying the U-boat, allowing Gus and his team to move away from the combat zone. From a safe distance, Gus watches the British ship bomb the water to destroy the U-boat. Marjorie and Heron visit a man named Lamp Billy, known as the Prince of Fernando Po, because he can get things done. Heron explains that he needs men for their mission. Lamp agrees to help since he dislikes the Nazis as well. To prove her abilities, Marjorie demonstrates her shooting skills with various guns, impressing Lamp. Marjorie and Heron sent a message to Gus's team to arrange a meeting point. When Heron, Lamp Billy, his men, and Gus's team finally meet, Heron introduces them to Gus. Gus is pleased to see Lamp, a former cricketer he knows. Gus asks Appleyard to brief Lamp on their plan to destroy the German ships. Appleyard mentions they are short on men, so Lamp offers his team for the mission. He also shows them the weapons they will use, which impresses Gus and his team. Gus explains that Heron will plant a bomb to cut the power, creating a distraction to destroy the ships. As the plan proceeds, Marjorie and Heron discuss the details. Heron prepares a time bomb and warns Marjorie to be careful during the party that night. Meanwhile, Gus gives money to Lamp for his men's help, but Lamp refuses, saying Gus is a good man. Later, as Heron is placing the bomb, he is caught by 3 Nazi soldiers and is forced to kill them. At the same time, a beautifully dressed Marjorie arrives at Heinrich's house, convincing him to attend the party with her, to which he agrees. On the night of the intended raid, everyone arrives at the party, while Gus and his team wait for the lights to go out to begin their attack. Heron informs Marjorie that the bomb will explode in 30 minutes, and that she needs to keep Heinrich occupied. Marjorie learns from Heinrich that he has reinforced the Duchessa's hull, making it impossible to sink. She quickly informs Heron to stop the mission, so he calls Gus to stop the mission. Meanwhile, in London, Brigadier overhears the call and instructs them to find another way to destroy the ships. Admiral Pound arrives and warns that both he and the Prime Minister will be removed from their positions for authorizing the mission. Admiral Pound orders Gus to stop, but Gus ignores him. Brigadier reassures the Prime Minister, saying they can trust Gus to get the job done since he doesn't follow orders blindly. As Gus and his team discuss their next move, they realize they need more explosives to destroy the ship. Appleyard suggests they steal the ships and sail them into international waters, handing them over to the Navy. He also proposes using the explosives to blow the ship's anchors. Gus explains the new plan to Lamp, seeking his assistance. As Marjorie begins singing at the party, Gus and his team launch their attack. Gus and Henry move toward the ship, shooting every soldier they encounter. Freddy plants bombs, while Appleyard and some men board the ship, eliminating the guards. During her performance, Marjorie uses a word that tips Heinrich off that she is a Jewish spy. He alerts his men. The team continues placing bombs and fighting their way through the ship. Heinrich, trying to maintain his composure, suggests to Marjorie that they continue the party at his place. Meanwhile, Heron locks the doors of the room where the soldiers are partying to prevent them from interfering. Once they gain control of the ship, Appleyard and Anders wait for the anchor bombs to detonate. When the bombs explode, the soldiers at the party grow suspicious. Gus instructs Heron to bring Marjorie as they prepare to leave. Heinrich, intending to harm Marjorie, takes her to a room where he tortures other captives. As he demands she move ahead, a massive explosion occurs. Heinrich orders his men to investigate the blast. Heinrich steps outside, and a fierce gunfight erupts between his soldiers and Gus's team. Furious, Heinrich orders Captain Benea to intervene, then shoots both him and an Italian guy in a fit of anger. A soldier brings Marjorie to Heinrich, who vows she will pay for the chaos. Marjorie calmly draws a hidden gun from her thigh and shoots Heinrich in the forehead. Heron arrives, finishes off the remaining soldiers, and rescues Marjorie. Meanwhile, Lamp tells Gus it's time to leave as the enemy soldiers prepare for an attack. But Gus insists they wait for Marjorie and Heron. They soon arrive, and Gus welcomes them aboard. Appleyard contacts the Royal Navy, informing them that they have captured 2 German ships and are ready to hand them over. Brigadier calls the Prime Minister with the good news. The team delivers the ships to a British fleet outside Lagos, but they are arrested and await court-martial. However, instead of being punished, the Prime Minister recruits them into his newly formed Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. Their daring actions have not only dealt a significant blow to the Nazis' naval strength, but have also facilitated the United States' entry into the European theater of World War II following the attack on Pearl Harbor.